Imagine your insides are as black as coffee. That was the first thing that came to my mind this morning when I sat down to write. I have no idea what it means or why. Anyways, so I brought up a couple of words yesterday. Drudgery and drudgery. Drudgery is a word. Drudgery meaning hard, menial, or dull work, which often that is what writing can be. Drudgery is not a word. Excuse me. Dredging is, and it means to dig, gather, or to pull out. So, and I believe it is most often referred to when you are scooping up from maybe the ocean or something. So these are two metaphors that I have in mind for writing. You're dredging up memories, and the drudgery of dredging the memories. Not always fun. That's why we tend to distract ourselves. Today, two words popped into mind. One is imbue, which means to inspire or permeate with a feeling or quality. To imbue something. If you are imbued with said quality, then you can be inspired. It is within you to be inspired. Immure. I did not. Oh, immure is when you enclose or confine someone or something against their will. So, immured and imbued, one has a positive connotation, the other has a negative connotation. Dredging, to dig or gather, seems positive, to me anyway. Drudgery, negative. So, again, imbue and immure. Drudgery and dredging. These are some of the vocabulary that just kind of have been floating around in my head. So, about the writing, I'll first start about talking about the main character in the story, which I'm not sure how much I really want to talk about that specifically, but mostly talk about the process of creating and developing the character as I go on. This is day 2, talking about 90 days remaining to finish the first draft of the novel I'm trying to write. I would like to start by talking about the main character in the story. This will seem very obvious to people well versed in story arc and whatnot, but I will mention it anyway for my own organizational reasons, for my own thinking. So, coming of age is a common theme in character development. So that is the initial process or thing in which I will try to convey. He will start innocent and have some experience that calls him to have a new profound respect for someone or something that he had approached mockingly or disrespectingly before, you know, just with an immature mentality. Then after he is changed and matures, he will transform, so to speak, from boy to man. That's one arc. The second is, for my story anyway, there will be a paradigm shift. Paradigm shift. I guess a paradigm shift is when there's a fundamental change in approach or underlying assumptions. This shift will be a crucial moment for the main character during the story. So, a fundamental change in approach or underlying assumptions. What does that mean? That's when maybe you see something like, for example, I'll use Sasquatch for an example. There is no Sasquatch in my story, but if you happen to ever be in the forest and see an 8-foot tall creature, you might have a change in what you perceive as reality, because this concept is usually laughed at, and so it's generally regarded as untrue. But if you happen to see one, then your mentality will undergo a paradigm shift, and that is another thing I will try to convey in my story. And the trick will be how I will go about that. So this shift will be a crucial moment for the main characters during the story, because the main character alone can't undergo this paradigm shift. Then you have the dichotomy of dream versus reality. I want it to be a shared illusion. So it will be a crucial moment for the main characters, plural, during the story. This will be in addition to the evolution of the main character, but something mutually witnessed by the main protagonists, or antagonists, we'll see. Already, so the coming of age for the main character, but his cohort will be already matured and kind of a mentor figure to the main character who is growing. So the shift will build slower than the initial coming of age process, but will crescendo much more rapidly than the overall. So paradigm shift will happen slower than the initial coming of age arc. So imagine coming of age and then paradigm shift, and then these two wavelengths will be overlapping, but very different. Different in their wave structure. So, yeah. Another thing I wanted to bring up is, let's see. So, something I wanted to bring up for the sake of full transparency that I mentioned yesterday is that I have started the story. So as of right now, I have written 8,022 words. I wrote about 100, 200 a day, so about 8,200, and have worked out about 5 chapters. Since I've been going through editing, much gets taken out or rearranged. For me, revision is a big thing. I make a lot of mistakes initially because I try to get as much out before it leaves my mind. Then I go through it with a fine-tooth comb, untangling the knots of subconscious ramblings. What I'm doing is free writing in italics for those interested, and then when I look over what I have written, I convert each paragraph to normal text. So that's it so far. was going to talk a bit about inspiration, but I will save that for tomorrow.